Hello everybody, I am fiddling around with RoCoder and looking for so I'm using the RoCoder now. I'm just looking for if I could use 8-band ugly. That's very ugly. Okay. That was better. But that's based on noise. Normally you have a synth. Yeah. Oh, I'm looking for a more normal vocoder. So let's go to the... Ay. Okay, vocal bass. Yeah, that's better. So I just took a sample. It's not very brilliant what I'm producing here, but it's about the idea. Of course, let me see if I put a bit more noise. Let's do another one. Okay. That's the wrong one. Okay, then of course for speak, sometimes it's a good idea if you have RoCoder. And of course, it needs to be in. She sings in TF, so essentially you put a little bit. You put a little bit of the original sound to make it so that you hear what she says. But it depends also on which key you play and what. So that's the original voice. I just took a vocal sample.
Everybody's turning to it.
Okay, I'm gonna play the MIDI keyboard.
Everybody's turning to it.
So this is more for the lower end. So yeah, now you can pretty hear the voice. And what you could do, of course, is if I go back and only play this sample left, I need to change the locators, of course, so that I repeat the, okay, see, you see a little bit of a mess here, but I grab it here and then, okay, let's see, it should repeat now. So it depends really on the vocal. So a little bit of original voice makes that you get a better. But of course, also with the EQ, with the bands, you can do things. So when I go back to the main, here you can change the So you hear that makes a difference. Make a bit more high frequencies. Spreading it more. So now we hear it's already a little bit. So with these things like the volume of the bands from the vocoder bands, you can adjust the tone. Well, this is a monophonic sound. We're using the carrier. And the carrier is here, and it plays legato, which is nice for. I could also make it polyphonic. And now you hear really. Okay, so now you have a bit more. Okay, now I need to have a longer piece.
Everybody's turning to it.
12. It's not really in the rhythm, but it is about the idea. So it really depends also on how you set this thing here. This is a very nice one. I should save this one. I think it's polyphonic. I use the carrier. The carrier has also noise added to it. That also helps, by the way. And we had somebody who said, okay, I don't see RoCoder as instrument, but it's an FX. And what you need to do to have a RoCoder working is, let me show you here. This is the track with the vocal. And here I have a MIDI track, which, if you see here, it controls the, it goes into the MIDI input of RoCoder because you need to have MIDI control of this FX. And it depends on your music host program, how it is arranged. So create a track next to it, a MIDI track, and connect this MIDI to the RoCoder FX. This is the way it works. And then you can play, as I do now. So I'm tweaking around a little bit. Let me shut down. It's, of course, don't judge me on the... Okay, let's shut down, only a bit of a higher. And of course, there are some modes of RoCoder in which you don't need MIDI, which is then, okay, let's open RoCoder again. And that's the additive mode. Then it's essentially, you can have MIDI control, but it's not always the case. Okay, so when I go here, additive talks. And you see here, now it's really additive. So then it changes a lot in terms of sound. So here you don't need, also with noise mode, noise talking, you don't need keyboard control because it's essentially, you see down the carrier is also fade out. So with some sounds, you don't need MIDI control, but in the traditional vocoder mode, because this is the noise mode, which you can see here in the noise mode, additive mode, you don't need this MIDI control. All the other modes like vocoder and additive, the tuned noise, tuned comp, you need MIDI control. Okay, I was trying to get this vocal. Here we have plenty of presets, but you can adjust. So if you take this preset, okay, let's play this one. Okay, I don't hear any. And you say, okay, I need to have a bit more high notes. You open, simply you go to control the band. And then you hear, this is the original. Okay, so it's a lot of tweaking. It is a little bit more work to get these things working, and you need to know the logic of how a vocoder works. So a vocoder has the input, which is the vocal in this case, and this one is then sent into max 32 bands. And together with the carrier, which is a synthesizer, they combine it together and you get this typical vocoder sound. So if you would, let me see. If I would open if I would make the bandwidth more wide, you would hear more of the voice. So I keep it always very narrow. And of course, you can shut down here the FX if you want to hear it dry. And each, you have the vocal that goes through 32 bands, and then you have the synthesizer that goes through 32 bands. And if I change the synthesizer bandwidth, you can hear the synthesizer sound a bit more. So yeah, very good, the synth sound. Maybe so it's a kind of pet sound with noise. Yeah, you hear the synthesizer sounds, but to have the vocal speaking, you need to adjust this. So yeah, there's a lot of tweaking possible, and it's not and I always, you see in my presets, the bandwidth is very narrow. So it's a lot of tweaking, but then you get this typical vocal vocoder sound. So yeah, we have, of course, presets which help. Okay, let me see. Oh, sorry guys, I'm blinking the wrong screens here. But that's a live stream, of course. We had, okay, kick. We had a side chain on this one. Or was it on this one? I put a phaser on it. Yeah. And then you can try it out and check for the good sound. Everybody's, yeah, it depends on what track and things you can do. So this is the classic. Maybe I should try another preset while playing. I need to wait on the vocal. Okay. That's clever. You need to have, of course, the MIDI channel selected, otherwise it doesn't play the RoCoder. You know, kind of. I like the very low ones, which can be really so robotic, like this one. Okay, this one. A bit too low. And you can change it. You can colorize it here by the volumes. You see how more high-end you add. It makes it more understandable. So yeah, and then this is the vocoder thing. We have the additive mode, which totally alienates the sound. So like the additive. What is it? Yeah, of course. Yeah, you should really check out the introduction video about RoCoder. If you understand the concept, it's not that hard. Therefore, of course, we have the many presets. You can select them here. The presets for RoCoder. We made different folders for voice, for drum and percussion. It's very cool, and for voice. So these are the two types. And introduction is a kind of combination, all mixed together. And in the video, it really explains what the different modes are. So you have the classic vocoder mode. Additive is pretty new. It's very interesting on if you really want to have some very weird sounds. You also could try it on other stuff. So not only on vocals, but also other things. The tune noise and choose comp mode are very good for drums and that kind of things. But it's very compact in the introduction video of RoCoder. So let's check the chat room, because I'm already talking and talking. And we should go also to Predator, of course, Predator-3. Okay. Okay, let me see what I had here. Yeah, I was working on some new presets, and one person mentioned that the ambient sounds are great. Yeah, what's new also about, we released Predator-3, but of course we will have most likely at the end of next week a update with some new presets. We had some very small bugs which we need to fix, and some people like the 100% version a little bit bigger for the full HD. So we're looking into that as well. Well, this sound is only one oscillator. And you see the waveform displayed, and the modulation is in this case the free envelope changes the oscillator morphing. And here you see it moving around. Yeah, also some people mentioned that they had sluggish control, which I don't understand. I don't know what causes it. We don't have this issue here. So we're looking into that one as well. Could be a weird combination of things. Yeah, this animated things, by the way, you can put that off. I'm not such a big fan of that, and therefore, of course, you can say animation dials and make it off. It's just one oscillator. So not always you have to use 3. Oh no, this one has 2 oscillators, sorry. Version 1. Okay. I changed the sound. Oh yeah, that works. You can put it off, by the way. Preset warning, which appears if you change a preset, and then it says, hey, you want to save that one? Because you did change it. And this warning you can put on. I think it should be also inside here. Preset change warning. Oh no, that's the program change. Now the warning is only at the back end. So here click on the logo, preset warning. If you change a sound, then it says, hey, you did change something. You don't want to save it. For some people it's annoying, and so I always have it put it off. So it's down here, the preset warning. And that's one of the cool things of Predator-3. You have 2 waveforms, and you can morph between them. So this one morphs. So you have oscillator 1, which morphs between a sine saw and spectrum 16. So spectrum on the left side is the sine saw, and fully to the right, spectrum 16. So essentially, by simply combining 2 waveforms, you have an endless amount of waveforms. And then also, I mean, now I morph between them, but you also can say mix between them. It just sounds a bit different. Or you can say interpolate between, which is still a bit different. Or you can say lower harmonics morph. Or you say the upper harmonics. And you can say ring modulation between 2 of them. And even frequency modulation between the 2 of them. Talking about options in Predator-2 in terms of only staying in one oscillator, doing one thing inside one oscillator by using the morph feature. So these are the morph features. Then I have also phase modulation It's insane, guys. Then we have also combine. You see, combine two waves together. The first half is the source sinus wave, and the second half is spectrum 116. Excuse me, but this is crazy. There's so many options, and now I'm just selecting different modes where I combine these two waveforms in one oscillator. Still talking about one oscillator. When I go to morph, where I was and started, I also can say, okay, morph to a different waveform. So we have plenty of waveforms here. And you see, it's a beautiful arpeggiator sound. So in terms of waveforms, it's endless. I mean, only by using the factory waveforms. I mean, and then the other options you have, you can go make in each preset, you can have 8 user waves. User wave 1 is, of course, now something which is not very exciting. Well, I go to the user wave memory, select here user wave 1, and I can change it here. So I still can listen to it. This is as waveform, but I also can draw the partials. Or I can load a waveform from here, from disk. Or you can analyze a sample and create a waveform. That's pretty complex, but the option is there. Down here we have additional features. You can change, for instance, cause ripples, the rate of ripples, and I do apply. And you have again another waveform. So you see all kind of, okay, now manual, then I can go down here again. So the shape I'm doing now manual, and we have these presets where you can say ping pong things at a, yeah, it changes the waveform. So ripples is what I did, rate, and then you can see up there what it does to the waveform, and then you press apply. You see down here it changed also, and you can listen to it. But of course, now I cannot change it here anymore because it's now done in this thing, in this shape of the, when I want continue then manually, I need to go back to manual, and then I can. And then I can use all waves. That's, you see the other 8 waves are empty, so only using the first wave. So in terms of waveforms, it's yeah, a lot of stuff is going on. I have in the bank manager, if you go to the bank manager examples, there is a one sound which is user wave big, and then what I did there is, if you go down the user waves, it has only one oscillator active, and it has a very default sound. So user wave 1 is selected here, and then you can start doing your stuff. This is a very dry sound, simply if you want to have a dry sound for doing some experimental stuff and work around in your own creation of waves. But of course, I think it's even more fun simply staying in one sound. Go to, let me see if I take one, Mind Arp. Oh yeah, and here you see one user is wave is used, and then you can say, okay, let's have fun. Let's simply pick another one. I think this one modulates. Yeah, see, it modulates oscillator 2. Yes, so many options inside this machine. And of course it has these 3 oscillators, but doesn't always mean that you have to use them. I made this mellow lead sound, which is only once. I mean, people talk about super saws, and you should use trillion oscillators for a fat, nice sound. That's nonsense. Also, one oscillator can do very nice things. And of course, especially for lead sounds or bass sounds, one oscillator is perfect. For this kind of spacey, mellow brass sound. It's really a little bit brassy, isn't it? So kind of... Only one oscillator, one saw, very nice reverb and delay on it, and you have a sweet sound for ambient music. But let's go to the chat room, because I'm talking, and we might have questions. So, okay. Okay, so, but we need to have, of course, a nice picture, so I keep that one always on top, and then I check the chat room now. Oh, somebody, yeah, Avicii. Somebody talks about Avicii, this marimba sound. Yeah, I still haven't had the time to check that out. Could well be Bluetooth that he did use it. There are some, anyhow, percussive sounds inside Predator-3. Anyhow, but maybe it's in the yeah, it could be somewhere. That's the problem. There's so many sounds. There's also that will be hard to find it back. Maybe when I catch up on it, I'll let you know. But it's and of course, Avicii used Bluetooth and Predator, what I know. But it well could be that he had a preset, but also did tweak it a little bit. Yeah, it could be in Predator-2, and if it's in Predator-2, it's also in Predator-3, of course. Because in the bank manager, all the new presets for Predator-2 and 3 will be in the 0 starting bank. So every bank that starts with a 0 is Predator-2 and 3, and everything that starts with number 1 in the bank name, that's Predator 1.6 original presets. But keep in mind, because of the engine, it is sounds, especially because of the reverb code, much better, much nicer. Yes, this is introduction bank from Predator 1.6 CS80. That's a little CS80 type of sound. Somebody's asking about the additive. Well, it's a combination. So you will find inside Predator the traditional waveforms, the analog modeled waveforms, but then it starts having additive waveforms. And you can make them yourself. That's the cool thing about it. Search, we can find a preset. Well, yeah, if you know the name of the preset, yeah, it could be found, but that's the problem. Oh, that's one I always liked from the original Predator. You hear my keyboard clanking, but it's a bit like a boat strings, but not samples, but yeah. Yeah, that's evangelist sounds. Always nice to create these sounds. High violence. These are very nice in a track if you want to have some suspension. Yeah, about the waveforms, yeah, there are many options. When I go back here and you go to the introduction, to the example, I have this preset which you can use a wave big, I call it, because what I did in the preset is simply only one oscillator. There's no filter going on, nothing. It's a straight sound, and then you go to user waves, and you can draw it like this with the mouse. You can make partials, so you can work with harmonics. And we stopped with 63 because that's already very high. Now and you can say, okay, let's load one here. So if from the factory patches, I also can load this one. So now I have loaded Spectrum Wave 127. And now let's show you, because we have the morphing I showed in the beginning of the stream, that you can morph between two oscillators between two waveforms inside the oscillator. But here in drawing waveforms, you also can do it by simply interpolate between the 8 waveforms you can create inside each Predator-3 preset. So here I can say, go to waveform 8, which is empty. And then I take, for instance, just because it's a vowel A harmonic, so waveform A8, I can listen to it. You see here, waveform 8 is this. It's an A, and the first one was this fantasy sound, user wave 1. Now, what I can do anyhow here already is user wave 8 and use the morphing what is built in here. But I also can draw this inside here, because once I select them together, so you need the mouse over, you need to slide you keep the mouse click down and you slide to the right, and then you can say interpolate between selected waves. So I have in wave 1 a waveform and in wave 8, and now I click this and it creates waveforms in between. So that's also possible. So if I go back here, you see that was the A, and the first one, now it morphs within the user waves. So you not only can morph between in the oscillator itself, but also while creating user waves, you can do this. Yeah, a partial editor. Yeah. You can analyze because it's possible to analyze. You click here, analyze, and then you can load a sample, and from a sample you can create a single cycle waveform, and it's a very complex thing. One of the waveforms which came over from my son, I told it maybe a few times, but if you go to this one, let me see where it is again. Fox 2. Here it's really a R. And this is the wave. And that's of course the cool thing with analyzing a sample, is that it catches the harmonic content. So it doesn't create a sample, but it catches the harmonic content. And you can see this you cannot draw. So this is R from my son when he was a little kid. Yeah, it's definitely a wavetable synth. Yeah, that's only it does has different features. So original PPG had 64 waves, and you could scroll through these waves. Here you have the freedom to morph between 2 waves, or simply use 8 waves. You see, now I can morph between Vox 2 and user 8, or I can pick, for instance, here something totally different. So yeah, so many options, but here you can do your own thing. And of course, it's a bit next level synthesis, but therefore we added, of course, for you some very nice sounds. So in the synth bank, you will find, for instance, this typical wavetable PPG-alike sounds like this one. Therefore, I call this preset Wolfgang synth. Yeah, and here the XY is used here to morph oscillator 1 and oscillator 2. So here the XY is used to morph from A to B. And that's the power of Predator-3. It has these type of sounds, but also very classic analog type of sounds, like the jar, this laser harp, which is oscillator sync. Or, for instance, this nice patch sound. Yeah, it's a bit like a synth clavier. Yeah, you're right about that. It's a synth clavier, but this is maybe more PPG-like. Of course, it doesn't have the wavetables from PPG, but it uses the same idea in how to create a waveform, which is essentially stacking the harmonics, and you can create your own and have fun with it. Let me see. Maybe have some more examples. Yeah, here now that's nice, of course, compared to the original Predator-2. You have an option here to show some advanced parameters inside each oscillator, or it shows the waveform. And you see the XY is here used, but there's also a cool thing. You can use also the pitch bend. So I did shut down the pitch bend from doing the normal pitch bend thing, which is essentially here. You can see it move around. But the XY, the speed of the XY is controlled by the pitch bend. Let's see how that works out. And the modulation wheel. So cool, isn't it? Much to have fun with. Move fundamental, that's also easy. Yeah, these are the typical wave sequence things, but yeah, you see also this kind of stuff. Analog type of things. Modular lead too. I'm just playing a few presets. Synclavier is additive, somebody writes, with partials. Yeah, here we have the partials as well. But with the synclavier, I think each partial has its own envelope. That's what we don't have, but here we can, of course, morph so that you have the typical same type of sound, the same feel of the sound. Space guitar. Yeah, I mean, there's also distortion, although this one, I think it's not distortion. You would say this is distortion, but that's not distortion. What happens here, if I go to the advanced page, you see that oscillator 3, oscillator 1 and oscillator 2 don't go into the filter, but modulate oscillator 3. And that makes phase distortion, phase modulation, which is essentially kind of FM synthesis thing. So this is a pure square. If I take a sinus waveform, oh, long, nice there. Then I have a FM type of sound. So a little bit jazz. Okay, but now I change, so oscillator 1 and 2 modulate oscillator 3, but instead of using a sinus wave from oscillator 3, I change it to this square, and then I suddenly have this distorted guitar sound. So zero distortion is used in this sound. This is pure synthesis. Yeah, with 10 kilometers delay and reverb, but so yeah, you see it here, no distortion, there's no pre-filter distortion, this is pure, essentially, FM synthesis a little bit. And that's a cool thing about, yeah, Predator, it's very versatile in terms of machine. Let me see if there's more. Yeah, I'm working on more presets, but it's not much yet to show for you, but that will come. Let me see this chromatize. By the way, on most presets, at least we paid attention to it. On most presets, there's something happening. If XY is like this, there's always something happening, and if you double click, it goes back to the middle. This is more classic synth sound. It's brick brass. Yeah. And this is sidechain. We had, of course, this new feature of sidechain. And when I go back here to, can you lead? Okay, I need to check the chat room because otherwise I keep on fiddling around. Can you do a lead with arpeggiating on very fast? You mean on this guitar lead? Patches from scratches. Yeah, oh, sorry guys. MPE support we also have, of course, but I did not create yet presets for it. I did not understand one question. I think it. So if I go to default, okay, I'm looking here. Patches from scratches. Yeah, I mean, we have in the introduction bank, you have the default preset. And even with a simple sinus waveform. Yeah, a lead with a arpeggiator, like you want. Okay. Was it with a distorted guitar? Well, this is a default preset, and the good thing about Predator, so if you want to stay, let's say, classic, put on the arpeggiator. The main controls are visual. That's cool. So if filter one, you can, yeah, the fun part of the arpeggiator. You see, also dry, it sounds great, isn't it? Here's the amp envelope. So it's delay always works. Yeah, and what you also could do, I mean, we have chord mode and play mode. You can say 4 notes. So now I play one note, but it plays for me the other notes. Cool, isn't it? With a combination of the play mode chord. Yeah, so much possible. It's really insane. So this is normal. So I play chord on 4. I put here the semitones. Or if I put off the arpeggiator, you got a kind of. Okay, then you could say, if you had a sample of a synth. So plays the chord for you. Now this is the panning. Double click brings it back. So if you would have an old time sample of a synth, and then sometimes they use it in the 90s. They sampled a chord, and then they use that as a that kind of things. Yeah, cool, isn't it? Okay, yeah, arpeggiator, yeah. So if I could say arpeggiator with 64 notes. You have the ratcheting, you need to put it on. So here I can say to it. the ratcheting is this way. Now, if you're ratcheting 2, it essentially means that step 9, instead of playing 1/16th note, it plays twice a 1/32th note. That's ratcheting. And we added some cool things. You can have different modes that it plays first with ratcheting, the second time without ratcheting. You can say 1 cycle on, 1 cycle off, or velocity. If I play soft, this is the threshold. When I play soft, there's no ratcheting. When I play harder, there's ratcheting. So tons of options on that subject. Uh, 1/64, yeah, that's very fast. If you put here 4, that's 4. Here it plays then 4 times 1/64th note. It depends on your tempo also. If you have a slower tempo, of course that is a little bit better. Yeah, somebody said make a smooth pad sound tutorial making fat bass sound. Yeah, that's a good thing. Sometimes it's not that hard. Depends on which type of bass. So if I click here to original, then have the bass, you can also say saw waveform. You go a little deeper, because picture with the bass you only have 1 string, so you don't need essentially 2 oscillators. You can use 2 oscillators, but 1 oscillator could do the job. Filter down. Then you have this is more a okay. There's another bass. Okay, shut down this bass. So a bit like a trance bass, but if you want to have, now I add resonance, second oscillator, 1 octave higher, otherwise I have a phase. That's again. And with bass, it's wise to use a 24 dB filter. 24 dB filter does filter more, is deeper, which leaves less high frequency over, which makes that doesn't interfere with your other things playing around. So now it's more a now we have a snap bass. And what I always do with a bass is putting down the velocity on the amp and have a little bit velocity on the filter. So this makes that you still have a little variation. So this is a very good bass, by the way. I will save that one. Where should I put it? Save preset in folder. Okay, I put that one in send bank. Stream bass, I call it. Stream bass. Okay, you will find that one in the next update. Of course, I always need to tag it, so I need to make it a bass. XY live. It sounds analog. I would make it legato mode, which I still need to do. And XY live means And that's also a trick I like to show you. If you have the XY here, nothing is addressed, but we have here the COM menu where we have presets. And I can say, okay, add filter 1. And then you see filter 1 is addressed. And on the play mode, I would take legato, which is nicer. Pitch band, of course, a little range. Yeah, you see, goes very nice low. And yeah, and then I go to the menu, say apply and save. Stream base. So it will pop up in Synthbank 03. Yeah, there are different types of basses. And so it's depending if you want to have a sub-low hip-hop bass, which you feel more than that you notice it in the mid-spectrum, then the sinus waveform is of course good. Yeah, I'm very fast in presets, definitely. And so if you say, or make in 1 minute a pet sound, I can do that. Let's go to introduction. And we are almost at an hour, but that doesn't matter because we also have a nice demo from Tom. So I go to the default preset. Here it is. And then guys, can somebody time? I think with less than a minute, I will have a string sound. Okay, here we go. Sinus waveform. Okay. Oh, this is hard. Not of course. And oh, it is. Type 2 is nice. 12 dB. 12 dB is nicer for. This is already a pad sound, but let's make it a bit nicer. Then I take an extra saw, and this one I modulate. 3 LFO, destination, oscillator 2, fine. Making it a bit more fuller. And then of course we can put a little bit, make it a bit of unitype sound. And then of course also a little bit of stereo delay. We can make it a soft pad. Yeah, 1 minute, I think, less than 1 minute. Should be. I already have 2 of them. I don't know if I should save this one. Should I save this one? Let me know. Yeah, maybe I should save this one. Save preset in folder, and then I call this 1 minute pad. Synth folder, 1 minute pad. Oh, minute was a U. 1 minute pad. Yeah, maybe I should have that one in the ambient bank. That would be maybe better. And if I would fine tune it, you could have, and that's an interesting thing in the play mode, you see the decay shape is now more exponential. But if you go to 0, then then you have a linear release. Fades out nice. Save preset. I move that one to the ambient bank. Okay, so I do here copy, and that one goes in the ambient paste. So next week you will have these also, these sounds. And here we have it then. If you click on order by date, 1 minute pad, here it is. Of course, I need to set this category. Pad sound, XY live. It has a long release and a long attack. It's polyphonic, of course. It has some FX that we could do. And we could use the modulation wheel to make it brighter. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. Sounds a bit like a Uno string sound. Yeah, and of course, you see, you need to set the default settings so that it does something. If you change the XY, that something changes to the sound. So this one is almost ready. I need to check it for finally releasing it. And one person mentioned this phase sound, which was inside here. That was the sidechain sound. Here it is. No, this is the 1 minute pad. Wrong sound. Sorry, guys. Here it is. Sidechain. And this is the sidechain pad 1. And essentially, the only thing I did is add the analog phaser at the very end. So if you have this pad sound, it's EDM and dance, sidechain pad 1. Then you in FX3 you add the phaser, and then you have the sound. Of course, you need to have the sidechain active. In this case, it works on the So yeah, guys. Oh man, we are already over the hour. Time for Tom, and Tom used RoCoder in his demo song. So let's have a listen. Hopefully Tom is there. Tom, are you in the chat room? Next week we continue, of course, our sound session. Hopefully I can show you then more about the new sounds, and that will be cool. It's high over the pound. I hope yeah, that should be the one. So this is Tom Aldrich, and he uses RoCoder. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Give me 1 second, guys. This is my mistake. I need to have the right song. Here it is. Shake, shake. Sorry for that. Here it comes.
I hope you realize before you synthesize, you must prioritize so you can funkify. I hope you realize before you synthesize, you must prioritize so you can funkify.
That was super. Thanks, Tom. See you next week, guys. Bye, and enjoy creating music.